Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Budget Committee for the 2025 Budget Committee. We have regrets from Councillor Longo and Councillor Lischina. Council, do we have any declarations of pecuniary interest? Madam Clerk, there are none. Our discussion item today is the feedback that we've each received from the public in our consultations since we launched the budget process. And secondly, if members of council have identified any parts of the strategic plan that they'd like to move forward, I guess I would say, or we could be satisfied with the way staff have staged our work under the council's strategic priorities plan. And then finally, I'll ask for nominees who'd like to serve as budget chair and vice chair. And one of the important roles there is taking the budget out to the public, to the established groups, and getting their feedback and doing presentations of that nature. With that, I will open the floor to discussion. Does anybody have any feedback from the public? Let's start with that question in terms of budget priorities. Councillor Adams.
Thanks very much. I have three items that I wanted to bring forward as items for staff to provide reports on at a later date. I provided these in writing to our staff yesterday. They are, first, can staff provide a memo outlining opportunities and timing for improvements to Holden Heights Park, such as shade structures, a splash pad, and upgrades to the courts and play structures, including the current state of the existing facilities, and most importantly, how they relate to the master plan so that they fit in accordingly. Second, can staff report on the current speed for issuing building permits for industrial and commercial buildings, and what resources would need to be needed to improve the turnaround time for issuing these types of permits? That's a comment that I've heard from a number of commercial building proponents. And then third, can staff report on opportunities to bring forward transportation improvements in the Midtown area to alleviate traffic on Trafalgar Road? And that would include things such as the additional crossing points over the QEW.
Thank you, Councillor. I know that Jonathan is diligently copying down everything that we say. Next, anyone else? I'll turn to the other question with Councillor Haslett-Thiel.
I would just like to expand on Councillor Adams' request in regards to speed of and ability to process building permits and documents in a more timely way and add residential to it. We continue to get a fair number of concerns around either speed in which it's turned around or the complicated nature of how they have to apply and the amount of them that fail on the first round. So is there a process or a financial investment that we need to make, knowing that in general our building permits are supposed to be self-funding? I appreciate the ask around the transportation for Midtown. I would like to add to report on the cost of addressing our side streets in downtown. We did a fabulous job several years ago on Main Street. We have several side streets in downtown that border on some safety issues, let alone just it needs to be on the books what we're going to do to bring them forward, whether it's through the Downtown Cultural Hub or other, would be appreciated. I have one other, hang on, missed it. There is, I'm assuming we're going to get a review of the head count when we get the books again this year, the budget book this year, and the KPIs that are related to each of the departments. I'll leave transit for Dave. I think he's going to put his hand up to talk about transit. And I am just want to make sure there's, from a clarity perspective, will we get a report on transit ridership, pre, post, as well as number of riders that are benefiting from free and the number of number of paying riders that we have? And also, if you could just clarify, so are any of the dollars in this budget going to go towards flood mitigation?
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Giddings?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, in discussion with Councillor McNeice and Councillor Duddick over the Heritage Advisory Committee, the Heritage Grant process and program has been in place for a number of years and been very well subscribed to a point with the inflationary pressures of heritage work in particular. We'd like to look at the possibility of increasing the amount available for the residents that would like to make use of that grant. The other issue, as Councillor Janet mentioned, is in terms of transit. I'd like an update on the student program. I think everyone agrees that it's important to get them to school and home again, but we have increasing number of issues and concerns over the midday ridership or the lunch run ridership, where we have receive ongoing concerns in terms of packed buses and poor behaviors. Wonder whether that is necessary. And the other one is in terms of the free caravan for the disabled. This was talked about briefly last year. Would like an update and a recommendation on that one as well. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Giddings. Councillor McNeice?
Thank you, through your worship. Just a few items. Would staff explore expanding the Marine Drive traffic calming study to the western boundary so that the full Marine Drive is explored due to a number of safety concerns we've been having? Secondly, would staff explore the feasibility of a hybrid library option at Bronte Market Square in the leasable space that is currently vacant? Third, would staff explore what it would take to make the one-way Bronte Road south of Lakeshore to Marine section that's currently one-way temporarily to make that permanent? And finally, would staff explore winter activity options in Bronte Heritage Waterfront Park or surrounding area? That's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor O'Meara?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just wondering, I'm not sure if staff have already got this in the plans, but I know our concrete pools are at their end of life and we're band-aiding them together. So I think we need to put together a plan on what we're going to do. In particular, with regards to the Bronte Athletic Park area, I'm wondering if staff could explore what we're going to do with that area, as I think the pool might necessitate the need for a plan before we're ready to make a plan there.
Thank you, Councillor. All right, Councillor Hazletil?
Sorry, Mayor Burton.
Sorry, Councillor Shi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to have a more understand about, because last year we approved each ward for special event 10,000 grant. So I want the staff to report back. So what the result of this for the last year, and what we prepare this budget for this special event based on our special strategy plan when we come out this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hazletil?
Thank you. Sorry. Thank you. Through you, Mayor Burton. Councillor Shi, you got the one that I felt like we were missing. So thank you for adding that. And I'd be remiss if I didn't ask if we can have a report on what it would take to address additional parking in downtown. We have waited an extensive amount of time for a parking study. We know that we have a tsunami of of issues coming at us as we have construction, which we're grateful for, the development, but we continue to not have sufficient parking for the employees that want permits, and we need to have a concrete plan that is at least built into the budget and clear for the public around how they can visit downtown via a car over the next while, in addition to how we can expedite people coming in and out of downtown through transit. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor McNeice. Oh, sorry, Councillor McNeice. We have some first-timers who've shown up. We'll go to Councillor Nanda, then Councillor Chisholm, then back to Councillor McNeice. Councillor Nanda.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Burton. In regards to parking study, we had discussed parking study for the north as well, and we've been talking about that since the past. We've had several issues. If to what Councillor Hazetfield said, if we could just have something brought back this year to see how we can work that study into the budget as well, or if you've been working on it as well. The other item is transit. We've been talking about transit in the north. We did get a new route. However, we are looking for more on the north side in various areas for transit, and if we could bring back a report on if we could have some different routes or some more routes in the area that go down to the GO and go to different areas where it's more efficient as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Chisholm.
Sorry, my fingers are slow. I just want to expand on Councillor Janet's request for parking study. Can we also expand that to the Kerr Street part two? It makes sense because we're going through a Kerr Street study right now, streetscape study, and it might be something that should be included in that study too. So I just want to make sure it's not lost with the Kerr Street. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor McNeice, thank you for your patience.
Through you, Chair, same comment for me related to parking. I feel in Bronte, we really need a plan in place in 2025. So we're activating our conference center, which attracts hundreds of people. We have events now, more and more events, tens of thousands of people coming. We haven't increased the parking supply. We don't own any municipal lots. Fortunately, we didn't charge for parking for a long time, so we don't have municipal lots like downtown and Kerr. So I think now's the time, or else we're going to miss out on opportunities. It's going to become harder and more expensive to get the parking that we need. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor. Last call for work, suggestions, and so on. I'll ask for volunteers. I'm looking for a volunteer to chair the Budget Committee at its later meetings. Councillor Grant? Councillor Grant, I guess there's a good argument in favor of you. You prepared for the role by being vice chair in the last budget. Are there other people who'd like to compete for this job? Seeing none, Councillor Elgar?
What about Councillor McNeice? Is he interested?
He didn't put his hand up, sir.
Okay. Very good.
But, if you were here, you could get behind him and shove him forward. Thank you very much, everyone. For vice chair, is there a volunteer? Councillor Adams? Are there other volunteers? All right, well, thank you, everybody. That pretty much completes the work of this meeting. And you've given staff additional work to get the budget ready. I know they've been laboring hard on it for weeks and weeks. And we'll see if we've broken the back of the camel here. Councillor Hazetfield?
Sorry, Mayor Burton, we got a late breaking comment from some of the residents. The question that was raised is whether or not 4% is the right target. and in terms of changes that are happening in the economy and the inflation rate and our general practice of trying to stay within inflation. So it's more of a looking to Nancy and Jonathan saying, you're building it to 4%, correct, based on that direction. There'll be an opportunity to identify whether or not there are savings that we see the public, wanting necessarily, but the books will come forward with a 4%. Is that?
Through you, Mayor Burton, yes, that's correct. The budget will come forward based on the direction from the mayor, but there will be opportunities for council to look at that.
Okay, and to circle and say, hold on this, or thanks very much for that clarity.
Thank you, Councillor. Let's try to remember that Council unanimously endorsed that direction. Maybe, Commissioner Sully, maybe you could review for Council and the public just confirm that the staff's information to Council was that 3.5 was necessary for keeping what we've got, and the additional half point was added by me in consideration of giving Council the opportunity to add funds for the priorities Council expressed in the strategic plan.
Through you, Mayor Burton, that's correct. The budget, just to bring forward our existing service levels, as well as operating impacts from capital, ranges between 3.25% and 3.5%. And then you will see in the budget items that through staff's budget review have come forward to meet Council's strategic plan, and those will be identified to bring it up to 4%. You will then have the option to review those.
I'll just add that I came up with the 4% number in consultation with staff. The trend of our tax increases and the trend of CPI will be such, if we do go to 4%, the trend will be of tax increases will be at or below the trend of CPI. Although I grant and I acknowledge that if CPI is going to be 2%, which is what we all hope it will be, 4% will look like twice that. So I just have to remind you that when inflation was 8%, we did 1.5% in order to cushion the blow of inflation to our residents, and we did say that we would gradually catch up on the underfunding of the town that we brought in at that time. And that was only 2 or 3 years ago. So thank you for the discussion. I would like a motion to receive the feedback from the members for the public consultation period from June to September. Councillor Shi, thank you. Any objection? There's no objection, Madam Clerk, and that carries. And now that does end the work of the meeting. Thanks, everybody, for being here. It's terrific working with you, and we are done.